How to be more positive and get better results. You ever notice how the news is basically like your brain on a bad day? It's a series of 7 stories of disaster, one story of a cat being rescued, and somehow even the cat looks stressed. If a news broadcast were a person, it'd walk into the room and say, "Good evening. Here's everything we know that went wrong today and nothing you can do about it." And yet we keep tuning in. Funny thing is, we humans are the only species that can choose what we focus on, and we still tend to choose doom over delight. A goldfish has a 5-second memory and probably less stress than most leaders that I know. Today, we're choosing to focus on the good, the hopeful, the transformational, because your mindset just might be the real leader in the room. It's pretty crazy. Both my dad and my stepdad worked for newspapers, and the negative news happens in newspapers too. My stepdad decided to become a cartoonist for a few years, and he was successful because he made fun of everybody equally, which he thought was the ethical thing to do in this crazy world. The world is volatile and pessimistic, and you can get a return on your leadership investment by investing in positive thinking and growing your organization's attitudes. And it starts with you and your personal growth. Welcome to the Bold Leadership Group podcast, where we turn life's lemons into leadership lemonade. And I'm Bob Belaurier. Today, we're diving into the real power behind results. Get comfortable because in the next 13 minutes, we're flipping your thinking from mental roadblock to leadership launch pad. The inner critic. Ever notice how your inner critic sounds like a stand-up comic who's bombed on stage? Negative thinking is like mental spam, annoying, repetitive, and not even helpful. When I was being trained to be an account executive before I had $1 million in sales, I had, zero sales. I was taught about the inner critic. And my sales coach was actually an independent consultant outside of the group that was making me or helping me to decide whether I wanted to be an account executive or not. And in that process, I decided, yes, I do want to be an account executive. And I was a research analyst and geeky as heck and needed a lot of help. My sales coach talked about how it's like a radio station that you have on in your head. You have to tune the radio station in your head to a positive station that's optimistic so you can power through the no people to find the people that will say yes to your offer. So question, what's the one negative thought you've laughed off today? The GOOP framework is something I've talked about before many times. Hopefully you picked up on it, but it stands for goals, obstacles, options, and a plan. And this is the backbone of the Bow Leadership Group coaching framework. And it's how we move from stuck to strong. It's a spin on the method that a lot of people use who are certified coaches like me through the Maxwell organization. The big difference, and I think it's a big difference, is I get you to think of the action you're going to take and systematize it into your planner. It's easy to take small steps that make big things happen, but it's hard to take big steps when you don't look at it daily and it's not in your system, it's not in a plan. People fall to the level of their systems. You've probably heard that from Atomic Habits, but long before that, Deming talked about when he was working with Japan that we don't have people problems. What we have is system problems. Strivers, the Arthur Brooks term for people that accomplish a lot, strivers would accomplish things, but with coaching through the obstacles and finding options, remember that's the second O, you'll be very, very, very likely to accomplish a lot more, a lot faster. And speed is the cachet of business and also the cachet of your relationships, like that honey-do list, right? So the question, what's a goal you set that feels just out of reach? Break that down and get it in your planner. And for some of you, get a planner. The CLEAR acronym in leadership, I've talked about before also, is communications, leadership, equipping others, attitude, and relationships. I also have an advanced level that I do with my high level clients where I look at things beyond the A of attitude to look at things like auditing the organization's attitude, auditing the organization's brand and image so that you understand where you are in terms of your credibility as a leader and effectiveness as a leader. So if that applies to you, get in touch. I'd love to talk to you about that. But today we're focusing on attitude because Everyone has to deal with their attitude. And your altitude depends on your attitude, right? But don't just think about it in terms of your attitude. As a leader, think about your organization, your family's attitude. And if you want some idea of how you're doing, again, I'd be happy to audit that. But the question is, how can your attitude shift the atmosphere of your team? The science of optimism, studied by Martin Seligman, the father of positive psychology at Penn, and also some of the basis of my certification in coaching. He discovered that optimism increases resilience and performance. Optimism isn't naivety, right? Like it's a leadership weapon and have it in your quiver. And another question is, how optimistic are you about your current challenges? Now, here's Harvard on hope. Harvard University study, they found that optimistic women live longer and healthier lives. So live longer and enjoy life more. Optimism also has been linked to business success. In my experience, this is because businesses fail when they aren't resourceful. And when you decide you can't do it anymore, which is a mental block, and you're unable to do things, what you're being is you're being pessimistic that you can find resources to get the job done. And you have to be optimistic to find those resources. And there are many resources to improve your business capital and ability to make money and find revenue. Reminds me of the Henry Ford quote, if you think you can or you think you can't, you cannot. You're right. But it's not just Harvard, it's other top tier schools that have proved that getting coaching on personal growth and positive mindset can grow your business. Stanford Graduate School of Business studies indicate that employees who adopt a dual growth mindset, believing in the potential for both personal and job related growth, experience increased happiness at work. And happiness and mindset not only enhances individual well being, but also positively influences team dynamics and productivity. Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania, it has research that highlights that cultivating positivity through habits like gratitude, leveraging personal strengths, and performing acts of kindness can lead to improved performance, higher income, and better health outcomes. These practices foster a positive work environment, enhancing overall organizational success. So that's from the Wharton Executive Education. Stanford's longitudinal study, an MBA study, a 20-year study, revealed that extroversion, a trait closely linked to positive thinking, correlates with higher compensation and career advancement. And don't forget that thing that I talked about a while ago, is that most people, 70%, won't walk across the room to say hello to somebody and shake their hand and meet them, even though they know that person could help them. Being positive and having the idea that somebody will positively receive you is a big deal, and it has long-term benefits, and it shows up in your demeanor and in professional settings. So, question, what positive outlook can you adopt today for a healthier tomorrow? Will you go across the room optimistically to meet people and talk to people and not take it personally if they don't like you? Maybe they are the no that gets you to the yes. Being kind with people, I think they tend to be kind back. And if they don't, you don't want to be around that person anyway. So you've explored and found out who you don't want to work with, which is very valuable at times. Negative thinking doesn't just sap energy, it kills creativity. And studies show that too. It blocks the brain's problem solving capacity. And there are books and trainings that I do on capacity building. And we have to fight to build the capacity, and we have to fight to get rid of pessimism. Even optimistic people have negative thoughts. Don't forget that. The most positive person still has negative thoughts that they have to get rid of. It's hardwired from those days when we lived in caves, is what I think. Back then, we weren't sure when we were going to get our next meal. You need to kill the ants, where ant is A-N-T, another negative thought. So when those negative thoughts come up, just kill them and keep moving on. Question, how has negative thinking limited your opportunities? And kind of pay attention to that. The power of reframing. We do need to reframe things. Sometimes in market research, we do that because perception is reality, right? There are different misperceptions that can also be reframed to the correct perceptions that is just a positive way of looking at it. Glass half full, glass half empty. How about use the glass, fill the glass how you need to, be resourceful, right? If you're in business, you need to be resourceful. think of all the different things you can put in the glass and how that can help the customer and bring revenue to your organization. It's how you turn a breakdown into a breakthrough. Reframing. Question: what's a recent setback that you can reframe as a setup for growth? Think about that. Write down some things that you use to say, I can't do that because I don't have enough time, is one of the ones that was a big one for me. What if you did have time? Everyone has the same amount of time. There's 24 hours in a day. Why Bill Gates can do so much and I can't? Uh-oh, I can't. I shouldn't even be saying I can't, right? That's a $5 word for some of those people that really want to tap out another negative thought. Every time you say, I can't, every time you say, but's a dollar word, but can't is a $5 word. If you hear those words popping up, put that money in a swear jar and spend it on a planner or something that will get you to where you need to go. What did you learn that you can reframe to a positive instead of living in the regret of it, making yourself feel stuck? Breakthrough. Consistency is the key. Consistency compounds and is the special sauce for those who are successful. Critics say they're so successful because they got lucky. In my experience, not luck. In my experience, consistency is a huge part of what a successful person did that created success. In fact, if you talk to any successful person, I can guarantee you they can tell you how they got there. It's not a mystery to them because they lived through the trials and the tribulations and those moments when they had to say, oh, I'm going to have to regroup and come at this again because this didn't work out. Again, if you say you can or you say you cannot, you're right. So you have to figure out how to reframe and be consistent so that you can. Consistency is just unsexy, but it's a secret to every successful mindset. Every time you choose the positive thought, you're laying the bricks in your brain as a foundation. So, question: what daily habit can you reinforce your positive mindset with? The role of community and your tribe affects your vibe. So, leaders need other leaders who challenge, sharpen, and stretch them. And I have an interesting twist on this. You know, the biblical thing, iron sharpens iron. That's kind of harsh. We're in 2025 and we have new words and poetry. And not only that, we have diamonds that can sharpen steel. Tough enough to do the task, tough enough to take the rejection if you go into sales, right? The things that business throws at you. But you have those in life and church and everywhere else too, where it gets a little difficult and you have to dig down. And so iron does sharpen iron, no doubt about it. Being with the right tribe and the right vibe helps. But what if you could be not just steel, but a diamond, the sparkling diamond, somebody that really sparkles with wisdom and sound judgment and makes those decisions that really moves somebody else ahead and then moves the organization ahead more positively than they would otherwise. Because iron slapping iron, that's harsh. But somebody who can be a diamond and bring a prism of light and shine on in the organization with cut quality and clarity, that's something special. Anyway, so question: who's in your circle that uplifts you, encourages you? How about a triathlon as a metaphor? I completed an Olympic distance triathlon this month. Training for the triathlon at 60 wasn't really a fitness issue alone. It was a mindset battle. Every mile was a mental victory. I was already biking a fair amount, so I started running a quarter of a mile each day in January and added swimming in February, and then I consistently did them every week and attempted not to miss a day of training. And you can contact me if you'd like to be coached into doing a distance event. I actually know some professional triathlon coaches. If you're just wanting to do it injury-free, I may be able to help you. For me, exercise also helps me to have a positive attitude and more energy. The year of my best seven-figure sales was when I completed a marathon. And business and life is a marathon, not a sprint, right? So again, question: what's your triathlon or stretch to get something you want, a goal that challenges both body and mind? Think about sales. In sales, follow-up is where dreams go to thrive or die. If you're not optimistic that your follow-up will make a difference, you won't do it. And not doing it consistently will reduce your sales. Consistency here can not only build trust with people because people want to work with people they know and trust, but sometimes your timing is just right in your follow up and you meet the prospect and help them right at the moment when they're making the decision because you call right when they have to make that choice. And they have deadlines and they want to just get it done. I used to joke sometimes that can I help you make the decision right now? What's your deadline? And sometimes they would say, I don't know when I'm going to make a decision. I'm so busy. And I sometimes would joke with the prospect that if they choose me, I would call all those who didn't get the work and save that work for them too. But anyway, the question, how can you improve your follow up to achieve better results in everything? Don't get discouraged and pessimistic after one no, after two no's, after three no's. The power of one more is what Ed Milet talks about. One more call, one more I love you, one more let's do something great together, one more I know we can do this, one more try at the battle that you're working on. And it isn't a solo battle. It's not a solo act. It's a tribe sport, leadership is. When we lead together, we grow together. So the question is, who can you invite to your leadership journey today? Because people are the best resource. Some accountability partners and training partners can help you grow. Others, not so much. So choose an accountability partner that brings the best out of you. My call to action to you right now is if you're tired of negative thinking holding you or your team back, I'd love to offer a free leadership game with you. The leadership game is a really fun way to get key leaders together. No obligation. It's fun, interactive to just see if I would fit in with your group. And I promise it'll be wildly insightful. And a leadership game session will give me a mini audit of what's going on in your organization. And then I can provide a custom proposal to make you look good and grow your organization to achieve goals while incorporating positive leadership methods and systems. Again, systems are important that grow your culture so your culture takes care of your organization instead of negative, stinking thinking that derails efforts. So, ready to take the next step on your positivity? Visit boldleadershipgroup.com and let's get in touch. These are ideas to blow the lid off of your leadership. Until next time, lead boldly with positivity and optimism. By the way, the Pessimism Club meeting has been canceled. They didn't think anyone would show up.